This video is the fast track setup of a payroll for a Schedule C based company, which would be a sole proprietorship, not a corporation, so you're on a cash basis, and it's mainly designed for new small businesses that are just getting payroll up and running. So we're going to use the Schedule C template as far as the foundation of the accounting, and then from there we'll go ahead and set up the payroll. So to get started, it's assuming you've already downloaded and installed the 60-day free trial of the People's Choice Accounting Program. And once that's installed, when you open it up, you can come in here and you would select, in our case for what we're going to do, the Schedule C template company. So you would select this one, and we're already linked to that company, so I'll just go back to here. But what you're going to want to do is you want to create a new company, but you want to make sure you're loaded into the template company, and we're going to use a company code for your company while you are to stand for your company, but it can be any 4 digits you want. Typically it might be the first 4 digits of your company name or the initials of your company name, or it can be a number, any 4 digits, and it can be letters or numbers. So you would go from there, click next, go ahead and copy the bank accounts. So we're going to edit to make them your bank accounts as far as the accounting foundation goes. So next, go ahead and copy financial periods and make sure this is set to use current chart of accounts, because the current chart of accounts is the Schedule C base chart of accounts. You click finish. So once your data is linked, the default login and password is user1 tab user1. And it can be upper or lowercase. And so in here you would go ahead and type in your company name and your address and so forth. And if you've applied for a federal ID number, put in your federal ID number here. If you're a real small startup business and haven't obtained a federal ID number, you will have to have a federal ID number to be able to process payroll. If you were not going to have payroll, you could put in your social security number, but with payroll you will need to get a federal ID number, and that number would need to be entered here, and whatever that number might be, you would put that in here. You're probably going to use the bank account, so we'll just go ahead and click there. Otherwise you're up and ready and running for entering in checks and deposits. But to get the payroll going, I'm going to go ahead and a default setup and you follow these steps to go in here, and we're going to use the classic menu that most people like using. But you can use this menu, or you can use this menu up here to access the different functions. So as far as setting up and making deposits into the payroll bank account, that can be done as far as your banking goes. But to get the payroll set up, you would click on payroll, click go to payroll, and once it's loaded up the payroll, it's going to prompt you to create a payroll year. And so this particular one, we're still in 2025, so we're going to click create, and it's going to automatically determine that you've not used the payroll before. So we're going to go through the payroll wizard. So we'll say yes, and so you would fill in your company name and address, whatever the minimum wage is at your particular state. Most people are going to be using middle checks when they're printing their checks, and you can choose however often you're going to pay. Most are bi-weekly. You click next. You're going to add your state tax tables, click next, and depending on what state you're in, you select the states. You can select more than one state. I'm just going to select Iowa because I'm located in Iowa. So those have been added to the templates, which will speed up the addition of the entry of the new employee information. We don't have a local tax in Iowa, but if you did have a local tax in your area, you would give it now some initial and whatever the rate is, and I will go ahead and do that even though we don't need it in Iowa. But that's, so if you don't have local tax, you just skip that step and go here. We want to go ahead and add this, and I'm not going to add it, the local tax template, because it's not needed in Iowa. But if for some reason they did add it, we could go back and re-add it. So if you have an unemployment rate, 0.1%, I'm just going to save the rate. Sorry. So, and put in whatever limit you might have. You're going to want to override this and get your, in Iowa, it's Iowa workforce, but whatever revenue department in your state that manages your unemployment limit and rate, you will need to retrieve that information, and that need to be entered here. And if you're going to have any deductions, and I'm just going to, for the sake of what you say, how it shows up, I'm going to say you're going to offer a pension plan, but you don't have to have any deductions other than taxes, or you can have you can customize deductions after you've done the initial setup. So we click next, and if you're going to track hours that you've paid, you don't have to track any of these, but we're just going to select at least adding that one, but you could add more if you wish. I'm just going to add the vacation pay, and then with the Schedule C chart of accounts, we have everything all set up with the numberings that you would assign. I'll go ahead and assign those, and we get started by clicking the down arrow and hitting this, and that's federal payroll taxes and to state income taxes. And so I'm going to pause this and fill in the rest. So once all those GL accounts have been assigned, you would go ahead, and if you're using the template, it's going to be these particular numbers that you're going to be filling in. And then you would click finish. And now your employee templates are up and ready, and you can start entering in employee information, where you would go to here. What's been done with the wizard is we have these templates, and so all the things that we did have been automatically set up. We're doing paid bi-weekly. So if you looked at your deductions for the template, you can see that we have the employee pension plan as part of the template. And in our pay, we have automatically bi-weekly and overtime weekly. And so you can go in here if you wish to update the default wage, but there's an accompanying handbook for doing the detailed setup of the template that you may want to review. But otherwise, you're going into here, and you're going to go ahead and click new, and you're going to put in the employee's name, and their social security number, and then this is set up hour pay weekly, but we're going to use the template hour paid bi-weekly. And you notice there's also a salary account if you have somebody that's on salary versus an hourly. And then you would click create. And so now you have the basic template there, but then you still will need to go in and what's their hourly rate, and that'll automatically update. Now, in most cases, I have actually suggested you can have it automatically calculate everything, in this case over 80 hours, but I usually do not have that done automatically, so I'll go into the hourly paid bi-weekly, and I'll shut off the automatic overtime calculation. And if you were wanting to do that, you'd want to change this to 80. So everything is set up and actually ready to process a payroll for that company, that employee, and that the payroll processing procedure will be covered in another video. But this is how you basically get the basic taxes, deductions, and information needed to start up the People's Choice payroll program.